Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Tom LaHue. We're going to be looking at Enneagram Type 9's, and it's going to be a challenging video where we talk about taking some steps to move forward in life and to know your goals better, to prioritize them, clarify them, and get out of this rut or this routine that we are in that sometimes happens to Type 9's. Now, before we jump into this information, a reminder in the description below is a link to my website, tomlahue.com, where I do offer Enneagram coaching. You can select anything from a single appointment all the way through to my 12-week present-to-life coaching program, uniquely designed around you and your needs. Also, a lot of different classes available on the Enneagram and anything that I can come up with to help you on your journey. On-demand classes as well as classes that are live on Zoom. And I'd love to meet you and to work with you, and I'd love for you to be a part of my classes if that fits your needs and your schedule. All right, so we're going to dive into this information today, a 5-step plan to help Enneagram 9's take ownership of their lives. Now, this is a challenge often for Type 9's. I work with a lot of 9's, and I kind of see this reoccurring pattern that it can be difficult for 9's to, first of all, just know yourself and to know what you really like and what you're passionate about and what your motivations are. It can be sometimes challenging for 9's to feel that drive or that energy to live life with passion, and realize, like, as a 7, I can help you with this because 7's, we love to be excited about things. If you go into a bookstore and you look, I know you say, what's a bookstore? But if you were to go on, some kind of site to download books or look at books, the stuff that's written on the self-help area by Type 7's is all about living life with passion, living with motivation, and getting excited about whatever is in front of you. And I know from my perspective as a 7, if I'm not excited about something, I have a really hard time making myself stay focused on it and following through. If I'm not excited about something, I feel like I need to go make myself get excited about this, because I'm not going to be successful, or it's going to be difficult for me to stay engaged or focused on something if I don't have any passion or excitement about what I'm doing. And I think, that can be a helpful challenge or an encouragement to Type 9's or others. It's not just 9's that struggle with this, but, I do meet a lot of 9's that say they struggle with knowing, what they are passionate about. And so while I'm kind of waiting for the voice of God to tell me what to do, I find myself just doing stuff, just kind of going through the motions and sort of in a zombie mode or a default setting, just out there doing stuff, going to work, running errands, and kind of waiting for my life to start. And I want to address this and give you some hope, or give you some encouragement, or give you a friendly nudge, to start moving forward in life. Now, you can go to my website on my store tab, and I've got my notes here today. It's just one page. It's just a worksheet. 5 steps that I've kind of outlined here. You can download this for free on my store page. It's up at the top left of that, or as of today's video, it's on the top left of that store, and it's just a simple PDF download, so you can have these notes in front of you to help you take action and get started. And that's half the battle. We're going to get there in a minute. It's just massive action, taking steps to actually start changing the way you live and the way you think. And realize that all of this is going to disturb your status quo. It's going to disturb your equilibrium. And as a 9, you got to recognize that you have a propensity to not want your life disturbed. You are motivated towards peace and harmony and tranquility and comfort, and you tend to resist things that disturb that peace and harmony. And even if you do accept something like this, recognize that it usually isn't long until you kind of go back into your old patterns of doing what is routine or what brings you comfort. And we want to change some of these habits. We want to change some of these routines, at least think them through and see if they're really working for your best life. Now, when I say best life, what are you talking about? Well, what I mean is, if you were to sit down with a notepad, you were to sit down and you were to write out what kind of life that you wanted to have, you would end up with a beautiful document. You would end up with a beautiful statement. And imagine that you divided your life up into different quadrants or different categories, and you said, okay, my spiritual life, my physical health, my hobbies and interests or recreation, my work life, my living environment, my community of friends around me, my marriage, my family, your kids, or, whatever your family is. And if you were to, really divide your life up into all those different quadrants, and then write out what you would like your life to be like. If you spend a week on this, like imagine you took a retreat and you spent a week just writing out what you want your marriage to be like, what you want to be like as a parent, what kind of family you want to have, and how you want to, your personal development, your path of growth and development. Excuse me. You would have a beautiful document at the end of that. But of course, the problem is, or the challenge is even if you did that, even if you could stay engaged through that whole process, if I were to watch how you actually live your life each day and each moment, I would no doubt see you doing things that don't at all align with what you said you want in that document. In other words, I would see you not spending the time investing in those activities that are going to make those realities come about. I would see you maybe wasting time, or ignoring your needs or your goals, or not following through, and instead maybe just watching more television, or just whatever. And so it's interesting when you think about it like this. You kind of gotta wonder, who's really in charge of my life? If I was in charge, I would be moving toward these objectives. I'd be moving toward this better life. But it seems like sometimes my default system is in charge, and I'm just kind of going along for the ride, sort of stuck in that zombie mode. And we want to shake that. Sometimes as a 9, you kind of need somebody to come into your life and shake you a little bit. And this happens naturally. Like, for example, when there's a major breakup, or if you were to lose your job, or let's say somebody that you're very close to passes away, and all of a sudden you have to move out, or all of a sudden you have to, find a new place to live, or a new partner in life. When the roommate moves out and gets married, these events can be like major shakeups to you. They can cause you to sort of jolt you awake and make you have to ask these difficult questions. Who am I? What do I care about? Why do I do this job? Why do I live in this city? Why am I married to this person? Did I really choose these things, or is life just happening to me? And to accept that reality that, you are in charge of your life, whether you feel like you are or not. Realize this: you are building something with your life right now. You are every day putting pieces together to create this life that you're living. The question is when you get 20 years from now, are you going to be happy with the life that you have constructed? Are you really thinking through each step of what you're doing, or are you just kind of like stuck in a routine and just going through the motions and not fully showing up to your own life? Because you're building a life, whether you realize it or not. And I want you to pause for a second. Remember, you're a withdrawn type. So after this video is over, you might need to download this worksheet and then get away and really sort of take stock and ownership and think through some of these things, away from the noise of other people, away from other people's interruptions, away from other people's advice, other people's demands on your time and schedule. You might have to really isolate yourself and withdraw in order to get away from the spotlight of everybody else's attention, so that you can really focus on and listen to your own voice. And that's really going against that sloth, is to listen to your own voice and to hear what you want and to hear what you would like, to listen to your own opinions. You kind of got a message early on that nobody was really going to listen to you. And I think that's one of the reasons why 9s really make an effort to listen to others and make sure that we're listening to each other, because in your heart, you know what it's like to not really be listened to. And, first step is we got to listen to ourselves. We really need to listen to ourselves. Well, okay, I've got this worksheet. Let's go through it. And let's just go step by step and see what happens, okay? So step number 1, I have self-reflection and goal setting. Self-reflection, and that's really what I'm talking about here, is you taking the time to realize that your life is worth living. Like, you are an awesome person. You may discount yourself at times. You may discredit yourself. Chances are you do if you're a 9. You probably don't take yourself too seriously, but you should. Like, your life matters. Your opinion matters. Your presence matters. We need you. We need you on our team. We need you in our family. We need you at the next event. We need you to be fully engaged in this life. And that's just, a good challenge for you to remember and to consider, because sometimes it's possible for you to sort of start to believe a different message, that your opinion doesn't matter, and that if you weren't here, nobody would really care. And that's awful. We don't want you to feel like that. I certainly don't want you to feel that way. So here's the challenge. Take time to reflect on your deepest desires and goals. And you say, yeah, but that's the whole point, Tom. I don't know what my deepest desires, I don't know what my goals are. So you might need some work here. You might need to really get away and really think about, and if wanting a goal seems too distant for you, then maybe start to think in a little softer way. Start to think like, well, what could make my life better? Is there anything I could do that could enhance my life or make it better? And that might be a little bit easier question for you to wrestle with. Like, if you think about your friendships, for example, just take that one quadrant, one category of your life, one slice of the pie, my friendships and my relationships. Okay, how satisfied am I with them? Well, sometimes 9s, they sort of build up a catalog of project friends, people that others would never really want to relate to, that you find okay. And so you kind of end up, relating to a bunch of people that would never get along with each other and that other people can't tolerate, and you somehow minimize yourself to the point that you can tolerate people that other people can't. And I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. I appreciate that perseverance. Just realize at some points you might be kind of damaging your own soul. And it's great if you have people in your life that you're pouring into and you're making room for, you're making space for, you're coming alongside of and mentoring. It's great if you do that. Just recognize you also need some real friends that are peers. Like, you also need some people that can pour good things into your life as well. Like, you're worth it, okay? You're worth it. And you need to own that space, that you're worth that. And that you're a great person and people want to get to know you and they will like you. And you are an interesting person. So if you just picked one area of your life, like your community, your support system, your friendships, and then ask, what could I do right now? What could I do this week? What could I do today that could make my community life better? And then you start writing those things down. Just get out a notebook and start writing those things down and say, well, maybe I could, maybe I could write a letter this week to somebody I haven't talked to in a few years. Somebody from my past, somebody I haven't reached out to in the last couple of years. Maybe I could look somebody up on Facebook and send them a message. Maybe I could email somebody or text somebody. What could I do? Could I plan an event in a couple of weeks on Friday at my home and invite 4 or 5 people over and just eat together and maybe watch a movie? I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could do. Or maybe you could call somebody up and invite them to go out for a walk or do a little bit of exercise. There's so many things that you could do right now that could enhance that one area of your life, and realize your life has many different areas in it. What could you do this week to improve your skills at work? What could you do this week to improve your living environment? What could you do to go through your closet and maybe throw out some things that you don't wear anymore, or dust off and clean off your shelves, or sort through your fragrances or your makeup or whatever it is? What could I do this week? Maybe there's a piece of furniture that needs to be gotten rid of. Or maybe I could go on Facebook Marketplace and find a new piece of furniture to bring into my home. What could I do right now? What could I do today? What could I do? And notice I'm emphasizing the word do. Because let's face it, sometimes as a 9, you can be a little bit of a dreamer. You know, a little bit like Phoebe on Friends, you know, kind of floating above the earth and not really engaged in the real nuts and bolts of life. And when you start to do something, when you start to take action, you are making real changes in real time to your environment. And yeah, that can disrupt things, but it can also make things great. Okay, so number 1 challenge. Take time to reflect on what can make your life better, on your goals or your desires, without the influence of others. Look, remember, under stress, you're going to look a little bit like a 6. You're going to reach out for support and ask people, what do you think? Does this make sense? I don't want to make any decisions until I have everybody's input. Okay, stop doing that for this. Stop doing that. And just get alone and try to hear your own voice. Go out somewhere in nature, you know, sit on a park bench and look over a lake or a pond or something, and just try to turn off all the distractions and just try not to zone out, try to stay engaged, and just start thinking about life and how you're showing up to life and what steps you could take right now to start moving your life in a better direction. And these things are what we end up calling goals. And I think part of this is like you deciding that I want to be the person that has goals. Like, I don't want to be the kind of person that's just meandering, that's just wandering. I'm tired of being the tortoise in life, and I want to be the kind of person that is moving towards something. I think that decision may be more important than the actual goals you set for yourself, is that you're going to be the kind of person that has goals. And don't panic if they start really small. Okay, start small and start making progress. So you say, like, you know, eating breakfast every day. Gosh, that doesn't even sound like a goal. That sounds so, oh my gosh, I hate myself. Making breakfast for myself every day. But you know, that could be a big step for you. Because as a 9, you have to convince yourself that you're worth waking up and fixing breakfast for. Now, if I was in your house, you'd say, oh yeah, well, I'll fix breakfast for Tom. I mean, Tom needs breakfast. But sometimes you have to convince yourself that you also are a person that deserves, you know, like in Fiddler on the Roof, even a poor tailor deserves some happiness in life. And you might need to remind yourself of that. Like, I'm a person of value. Like, I'm created in the image of God. And even if I don't always sense my own value, I need to start treating myself like a person with value. And I need to take some small steps to get in control of my life. All right. So, you know, think about, like, could we come up with 3 things? Could we come up with 3 goals that we could set today or this week that could make your life better? Is there something that you could do at work? Is there something you could do as a student? Is there a class that maybe you could go back and take to improve your resume, or just to improve and enhance, you know, your personality, or just because you're interested in something? Maybe you've always fancied being a painter. Okay, well, let's go to Hobby Lobby and let's get a couple of canvases. Let's get a couple of paints. Let's watch a few YouTube videos and let's get something on the canvas. Let's get something on the canvas. Because I know you're going to have a closet filled with all kinds of art supplies, but never actually get around to painting. So let's make ourselves get out there and let's make ourselves show up. Let's make ourselves, and you know what's amazing is once you do this, you're probably going to be very glad you're doing it. You're going to say, wow, why did it take me so long? I don't know. Okay, number 1 is self-reflection and goal setting. Number 2 is prioritize your own needs. Now, first of all, you got to recognize that you have needs and that it's not a bad thing for you to have needs. You're not being selfish. You're not being a problem. You're being a human. Human people have needs. You have the needs for friendship, the needs for relationship. You have the needs for exercise and you know, for food and shelter, for fun, excitement, adventure. You have all kinds of needs, and you're not being a problem for having needs. You're being a person. Okay? So recognize and then prioritize those needs and desires. Now, this is where it can be difficult. Prioritizing can be hard because, one of the things that's true about nines, from my experience, is nines tend to think of like a point. They think of like a proposition or a thought, and then they immediately sort of think of the alternate side of things. Like they may think, it'd be really good for me to take that management class. Oh, well, yeah, but to be fair, Marty really wants to be the manager, and I think he wants it more than I do. So I don't think and this can cause you, this process of like, I would really like to get out my art supplies and paint. Yeah, but to be fair, I don't really know what I'm doing, or I don't really have all the right equipment, this mechanism that happens to you, this reality that happens to you, being able to see the other side always, could cause you to stall and never really take concrete steps or real action to move forward. So you got to prioritize. You can't do everything, and you don't want to waste your time doing unimportant things. So you got to take some time to, after you write out all of these things that you could do, now you got to do this hard work of making some decisions. And you got to say, okay, well, what would make the biggest changes for my life? What would make the most significant changes in my life? And I'm going to start with those things. And when you do that, you're starting to think a little bit like a one. And you got that one wing right there of like, let's make a list, let's prioritize that list, and then let's comply our energy to the list. Let's comply our energy to the needs of the moment around us. Okay, it's not selfish to put yourself first sometimes. It's not selfish to take time to think through these things. So you might create a daily or weekly checklist or activities. It could be easier for you maybe to create like a to-do list every day and then just check off the 5 things or the 6 things. And then those become established routines. Like imagine that you made a routine every day to come home and walk your dog for 30 minutes. Your dog is happier and you're happier. Or you make it your routine every morning to start the day with a smoothie. And you make this health smoothie and you drink that every day, and it just becomes a routine, and it makes significant changes in your life, one routine, one habit at a time. Or going to bed on time. Like you decide, 10:30, 11 o'clock, I've got to shut the TV off. I've got to turn off the lights, and I've got to make myself go to bed. I got to follow this routine if I'm going to be healthy and have energy for the day. Or I'm going to call, my friends. I'm going to check in on them once a month or whatever. I'm going to reach out and text my friends and stay connected to them. Or I'm going to read a book once a month. I'm going to pick up a book and I'm going to read a book. I'm going to make myself do that as a routine. All right, step number 3, develop decision-making routines. Decisions can be difficult sometimes for 9s, as they can be for all of us. But making decisions more proactively instead of just waiting for the universe to tell you what to do, which usually means some overbearing tyrant in your life will tell you what you need to do, or some well-intentioned dragon in your life will come in and tell you what they expect for you, and you just hitch your wagon to that trailer without ever really asking yourself, is this really what I want in life? And sometimes it can be easier. Let's face it. I mean, one of the reasons that I think you might be prone to do this is because it's easier than thinking for yourself. It can be easier than fighting against the sloth and asking yourself, and also if things don't work out, you don't have to blame yourself. You can blame somebody else because you were just doing what mom wanted you to do. But you're taking the low road here. You're responsible for your life. You only get to live one time. You only get this one life on earth. And 20 years is going to go by so fast you won't even believe it. And when you get done with the next 20 years, are you going to look back and say, wow, I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of what I've accomplished. I'm really proud of the steps I took. I really feel like I own. Or did you just zombie your way through another 20 years? Guys, why am I doing this video? Because I love you guys and I care about you. And ultimately, as a type 7, I want you to be happy and I want you to live. Did you ever see the movie Dead Poets Society? All right, that is Robin Williams, a 7, And he's basically doing the same thing to those kids that I'm trying to do with you right now. Like carpe diem, seize the day, own your life, own your space. Make this life worth living. Are you living a life that's worth living? Now, I know your life is worth living, but are you living a life that's worth living? And there are some things that you can do right now to make a good investment with your time and with your life. And I want to see you do that. Because you're an awesome person. You are. I talk to you guys all the time, and you're awesome people. So you don't want to just wait for other people to tell you what to do because, you don't want conflict. I get it. I don't want conflict either. But not dealing with things in life that need to be dealt with is a surefire way to end up with a life you don't want to live. Okay, so establish a routine where you make decisions each day. I would suggest in the morning, whatever, the first thing when you get to work, when you sit down at your desk, get out your to-do list and start making some decisions. Look at your calendar, look at the stuff that's coming up, and then also don't forget about things that you would enjoy, like reading or painting or bicycle riding or exercise or walking the dog or whatever it is. And put that on your list and make those things that feed your soul a priority. Okay. And then maybe work towards larger, more impactful decisions. Maybe use pros and cons lists. That can be help. And if you need to, reach out to a trusted friend who has your best interests at heart. And then step 4. So step 1, self-reflecting, goal setting. Step 2, prioritize your needs. Step 3, develop a decision-making routine, which I would suggest either, first thing in the morning or first thing when you sit down at your desk at work, or maybe the last thing before you go to bed at night, whatever works for you. And there may be one day in the week, like Sundays afternoon or something, where you do some planning for the week. Maybe plan your meals or plan your cleaning schedule around the house or plan your kids' activities. There may be an hour once a week where you just do some planning for your life. Okay. All right. Now, number 4, take incremental steps. I mean, small steps toward your goals. Start moving toward your goals today. Start today. When? Today. Your one wing says today. It says now. It doesn't say tomorrow. Because listen, let me tell you, your natural default setting is to come up with 2 or 3 beautiful lists of goals and then to start tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and you're like, well. Okay, you've got to make the decision that you are going to be the kind of person who's moving towards something, and you got to make that decision a reality today. You got to do it now. I remember when I was working on I don't remember if it was my master's thesis or my doctoral dissertation. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was my master's thesis. I remember that one of the important people in my life, one of the advisors, he said, start writing today. He said, let me tell you what happens with students is they get all the way through their coursework and then they don't finish because they don't write their thesis. And the reason they don't write their thesis is because they're always doing research and always getting information and always thinking they need to read one more book, one more note card, and they don't start the process of writing. Start the process of writing right now, today. Start your paper now. And I just remember that really sinking in and I did it. I made myself start. And it was difficult. It was hard because I didn't know where I was going, but I made myself start it and I finished them. It was not easy. I locked myself in a cabin in Kentucky for a week with nothing but me and a computer and made myself write from 8 in the morning till 8 at night, with just a few breaks for meals, and I watched a John Wayne movie because that's all that was in the VCR, Watched a couple of John Wayne movies during that week, but I made myself write 80 pages in a week. It's amazing how much you can accomplish when you don't know how much you could accomplish. It's amazing how much you can accomplish. I think we underestimate how much we can get done in a short amount of time. But I think we also overestimate how much we're going to get done in a long period of time. We overestimate that. Well, I got all year to do this. Well, you don't have all year. You have today. You have right now. You have this moment. And you need to start thinking this way a little bit more, like I have this moment. And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen right now. I've got to take massive action right now. I've got to start right now. I got to do this now. I've got to eat the biscuit while it's hot. I got to strike while the iron is hot. How many metaphors do you need? You know, I can't wait till all the lights turn green before I start to drive downtown. I can't wait until all the books are in the library that I want to check out before I go and rent or borrow a book. I need to take action now. And that is the way an 8 thinks. 8 is right next to you. Other side, right? 8 is right there next to you. And 8s often move to action before they really think things through. I don't think you're going to do that. You're not an 8, you're a 9. But I think a little bit of 8, a little bit of that wisdom of like, own your life, Bob. Take action now. Quit talking about it. Don't wait for the opinions of others. You don't need a committee to tell you what to do. Start taking action now. You know, you're going to look a lot more like a 3. Think about it. You're going to look a lot more like a 3 if you were doing what we're talking about today. It's awesome, isn't it? It's amazing. So start moving toward your goals today. Well, but I'm not sure about my goal. Okay, then you've got to withdraw and you got to get away from everybody else and their opinions, and you got to ask yourself, what would make my life better? And you got to think through these things, and you got to start putting stuff down on paper that then ends up on your calendar, that ends up on your to-do list, and you got to start taking action. But yeah, but what if it's too hard? What if it's too difficult? It will be. It will be hard. It will be difficult. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be worth doing. It's going to be hard, but you can do hard things. When you quit making excuses, you can show up fully and own your space and make your life count and make a difference in this world. Okay, so where are we? Even if you, but what if I'm not sure? What if I'm not sure? I'm not sure this or that. Okay, start moving forward. And as you move forward, you will get more and more sure whether this is what you want to do or not. But don't wait, you know, at the starting line until you're sure you want to run the race. Start running the race. Yeah, but what if I don't come in first? Okay, you're probably not going to come in first. Very few of us ever come in first. Life is a whole lot of failures with every once in a while we win. Every once in a while. But it's a lot of failures and a lot of trying and a lot of effort and a lot of hard work, and every once in a while it works out the way we hoped it would. But most of the time it doesn't. But most of the time it doesn't work out exactly how we thought it was going to. But we've got to decide today to move forward. Listen, you can come up with 10 excuses right now why somebody else and not you. Well, they should do it, not me. Or they're more qualified, not me. Or they have better opportunities, not me. It's so easy. And realize gravity, my friend, is not on your side. Gravity is your biggest enemy. It's going to keep you stuck. And you say, what do you mean stuck? Okay, all right. Okay. What do I mean stuck? How old are you right now? How old are you? How old are you and where are you at in life? Where are you at? I mean, how are things going? Do you feel like you're exactly where you should be in life? Do you feel like you've accomplished all that you can? Do you feel like that you're living your life fully engaged and fully on purpose? Great! That's my hope for you. That is my hope for you. If not, then maybe it's time for you to get a little frustrated with yourself. Maybe it's time for you to hit your head and say, oh my goodness, why am I like this? Oh my goodness, it's so frustrating. Oh my goodness. I see where my friends are. I see where I could be. And here I am, like so limited, so stuck. What's wrong with me? And then to start to laugh at yourself and say, oh, there I go again. A 9, stuck in my 9 ways. And then after you kind of get a little mad at yourself, let that anger become an energy in you that says, you know what, life could be better. Like, my situation could be better. Like, there's no reason why I'm not the manager right now at work. There's no reason I'm not the supervisor. There's no reason that I can't aspire to that next level. And guys, as soon as you start thinking that way, you're thinking like a 3. Remember, at your best, you look like a 3. You know what 3s are consumed with? How do I get to that next level? How do I get to the next level? How do I maneuver through all of these hurdles and overcome all these obstacles and get my life to that next level? Now, they're sometimes consumed with that kind of thinking. You just need a tiny little bit. Just give yourself permission to have a little bit of that kind of thought. Like, am I really living up to my full potential? What does the next level look like for my life? What does the next level look like for my career? What does the next level look like for my marriage? What does the next level look like? Just give yourself permission to ask that simple question. So good. It's so good. And you know what's cool is when you do get to that next level, you're not going to have any of the creepiness that sometimes other people have. Because you're not really doing it for you. You're glad to be at that next level so that you can share your life and your skills and your wisdom with everybody else that matters so much to you. So there's a genuineness there. Okay, so take incremental steps toward your goals. Break down your goals into smaller, more manageable steps or manageable tasks, and then complete them. Maybe once a day or one a week or whatever it is. Just be the sort of person who's moving toward something of value in your life. And then step number 5, fully engage in your relationships. Fully engage in your meaningful relationships. Now that means you may need to probably be a little more assertive. Like, you're going to have to pick up the phone. Hey Sandy, I haven't talked to you in a while. How are things going? Why don't we meet up for coffee? See, the temptation for you is to kind of lay back. Well, I don't really want to bother them. I don't really want to, irritate them. I'll just lay back and maybe they'll call me. Or I'll just forget about them until they call me. And realize, that's not the way relationships get stronger. Relationships get stronger because somebody's making an effort to connect. And you could be that person. At your best, you're kind of like a band leader that gets the whole band to play together. And you might need to do a little bit of that in your community. You may need to be that person in the center of the spider web that pulls all the people together and creates the event. Why not you? Why not you? Well, I don't know. I'm not a very good host. Well, okay, well, watch a few YouTube videos. I'm sure they're out there on how to be a better host. And then pull the people together and create a friend network out of these people. But you might have to take, here's that hard word, the initiative. Well, I don't know that it's really my place. Why not? You're a normal person. You can bring people together. You can host events just like everybody else can. And then find a couple of people that will really make space for you and will listen to you and not talk over you and listen to your heart and listen to your opinions. Not somebody that you just provide therapy to, but somebody who actually cares about you and will slow down enough to listen to you and your story and be willing to communicate your thoughts and feelings. Open up your life to these people. Practice active communication and expressing your needs and desires. Even if you say, well, I don't know what my needs and desires are. All right, find somebody in your life that will help you. It probably will be another 9. Somebody, 9s, even though you struggle with sometimes knowing your own agenda, you're often really good at helping other people know theirs. So maybe find another 9 in your life that will make some space for you to work through some of these challenging, perplexing struggles yourself. And I think that, you're probably going to have to be a little more assertive. You don't have to become an aggressive person. You don't even have to become an assertive person. You just need to ask yourself, would being a little more assertive, would that make my life better at times? Yeah. And sometimes assertive looks like having boundaries with people and saying, no thanks, I appreciate you asking me, but it's really not going to work out for me. But what if they ask me why? I won't know what to say. You don't have to tell them anything. Just say, thank you for understanding. I'm sorry, it's really not going to work out for me. And don't be afraid to kind of put people off. When they ask you for whatever, when they say, hey, basically I want to run your life for you. Will you work every Saturday for me? Be comfortable giving them a delayed response. Like, well, you know what? Let me check my calendar and I'll get back with you, Tom. that is such a great move for you because it creates a little bit of a boundary, just a little bit of a space for you to go home and think about whether you really want to say yes to this or not. Chances are you don't want to say yes to it, but you know what you're going to do? You're going to say yes because you don't want conflict and you don't have any other agenda, so you just adopt Tom's agenda for your life. And then you wonder why, how did I get to this point in my life where I feel so unfulfilled? I feel so like I'm not in control of my life. Well, okay, then what? You're going to have to take control of your life. And taking control of your life means you're going to have to use this word no. You're going to have to tell people, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. No, thank you, I really don't care for that. No, sorry, thanks for asking, but it's just not a good time for me. No, let me check my calendar and I'll get back with you. Let me pray about it and I'll get back with you. Let me talk about it with my husband, my wife, and I'll get back with you. And then text them later, thanks for asking me, but it's really not going to work for me. And when they come at you and say, what? Why did you tell me no? Just realize you would never do that to them because it's wrong. And then just respond to them saying, thank you, I appreciate it, but it's really not going to work out for me. Thank you. I'm sorry. Sorry to let you down. I can see how important this is to you, but it's just, I wish I could help you, but I just can't. Thank you for understanding. And the people in your life that really love you and care about you will receive that fine. The people that don't, who just want to control you and they want you to adopt their agenda for you, they're not going to understand. And you don't need those people in your life anyway. All right. Good stuff. And guys, I'm here for you. Okay? I'm here for you. If I can help you, please reach out to me. I do single sessions. I do 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks. And I am moderately priced. I'm not one of these people that's like, do my coaching plan, $10,000. That's not me. I have a pastor's heart. I'm just here to help you in any way I can. And this stuff is what makes me excited. Whether I'm talking about 9s or 3s or 4s, it doesn't matter. This stuff makes me excited because it challenges us at our core and helps us to see our blind spots so that we can live life right here, right now, and be present to life. Thank you, guys. Love you all. Thank you for your support of the channel. I appreciate you all. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.